Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Football Fignuts podcast. This is Season 4, Episode 33. Altogether, that's 183 episodes of beer and football and stuff. I'm Craig.
My name is Britt.
And Britt, we're back, and how are you feeling this week? I know last week you were a little down, but how are you this week?
So first off, let's give Craig a brief round of applause for the amazing job he did.
Oh, thank you.
In taking my ennui to a level that would be worthy of General Hospital with the music last week. For those who don't know, we don't actually hear the music live. Craig inserts most of it afterwards. So Thursday morning of last week, when I sat down to proof the episode before posting, I nearly fell out of my chair laughing. Nice. I had to take the clip. I had to take my phone out to my wife and be like, "You need to listen to the first 2 minutes of our podcast." And she laughed hysterically. So excellent job. How am I doing with this? It's going to be a long haul. I am not going to be. You know what? When football looks like it's back on the horizon, and honestly, and I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to dwell on it, but I'm honestly not going to be all right for a while. This fair. Really kind of stings, and it's funny because I go back to the 20. What is this? This is 2021. Jesus, time is meaningless now. Yeah, the AFC Championship of 2019, which the Patriots beat the Chiefs.
Right.
And that was Mahomes' first AFC Championship, and he lost. He said about a month before the season started, he was on talk radio, and somebody said, "How long did it take for you to get over that?" And he said, "I'm not over it." He was like, watching the Super Bowl from home was just a miserable experience because I just kept thinking to myself, that should have been me. And I loved that fire from him, but that's honestly where I'm at too. It is when football is back, I'll start getting excited about it, you know. But yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
But you know what? We've got there's, believe it or not, and this is the fourth straight year. The off season is here. We can relax. No, we can't.
No,
we can't.
Things happen.
I've already got 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 8 news stories on the screen in front of me for us to discuss. But let's start where we always start. Craig, what are you drinking?
So this week, we'll just say that I know a guy.
In a place,
and I have some Treehouse. So I had one already. It was the Double Ganger, which is a double IPA. So that was like 8.5%. Doppelganger? I don't know.
You said double. It's Doppel.
Doppel. But right now, for the podcast, I have a Julius, which is one of my favorites from them.
Oh my God, that is amazing beer.
It really is.
That is a fantastic beer, and I think it's probably my favorite from them. Yeah. Back in the early days of this podcast, we had a gathering, and it really wasn't even a podcast-related event. It ended up becoming one. Because that's what happens. We were at, I think you got there later because I think you were working, but we were at Cinch's house and the Source came over, and the Source brought like a cooler full of stuff from Treehouse.
Ah, yes. Mm-hmm.
And there was like a half a case of Julius, and of course when you put any more than 2 of us, 3 is critical mass on this podcast. Any of us. I think Keith was there too, who we haven't had back on, but we really need, Keith really needs to come back on. He was there too. Once you get past 3 of us in the same room, the football talk just starts. It just
happens.
It doesn't need beer, but beer is an extra fuel. It's kind of like you don't really need lighter fluid when you've got nice dried out wood, but if you put it on there, it just burns brighter. Beer is our lighter fluid, really. And we drank Julius, and he brought like a case of Julius and a mixed case. The case of Julius was gone.
Yes.
We just sat there and sucked down the Julius's all afternoon, the 5 of us. And we did. It was one of those things where I would crack open a Julius, and then someone would crack open a new one and pour tasters, and I'd be like, "That's interesting. Back to my Julius." And that was essentially our afternoon. So I'm glad to hear that's a fantastic beer.
Yep. There's a King Julius as well.
I think it's a double.
I think that is a double.
I think that's a double. Or that's... Yeah, it's something similar. But there's also a Julius with like 20 S's after it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I think that might be done with extra hops or something like that, but I don't know. All right, so listen. Oh, what am I drinking?
Yes, what are you drinking?
I have a can of a New England IPA by Alvarium, which is a fantastic Connecticut brewery and just announced they're expanding. I don't know
really?
You didn't hear that?
I did not.
I've been there once. They're in a industrial center, as many breweries are because of the nature of their business. But there was a machine shop next door that moved out. They have leased or purchased that side of the building. They're gonna go to 5 times their current canning capacity.
Wow.
In the next 6 months, double the size of their tasting room, which is good because their tasting room was small.
Yes.
To put it in terms that Craig will understand, think about maybe half the size of Two Roads' main room.
That's tiny.
Yeah, it wouldn't seat more than 50 people pre-COVID. Let's put it that way. It was pretty small. I mean, they utilized their space well, but I felt like it was small. So they're going to increase their canning. They're going to double the size of their tap room, and on top of that, they're adding an event room so that they can hold events there. So
fun.
I'm telling you, whether you like the beer from Two Roads or not, you cannot argue their business model and their location has been effective.
Yeah.
That old factory, it's right off the highway. It's centrally located. It's impossible to miss. They've used the space incredibly well. They have a massive tap room. They have a private event room in the vault room.
Yep.
It's just
enough so that they made another brewery down the street.
Yes. And that one they built from scratch, and I don't think it's a better space than the original brewery.
No, but I do like the balcony seating, roof seating, however you want to call it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Anyway, enough about beer. Let's talk some football. So tonight, no burning hot takes. We are going to present just stuff that's going on in a kind of crossfire format. Craig will get to ask a question or bring up a topic. I will ask a question or bring up a topic, and we will either go until one of 3 things happens. We run out of time, we run out of beer, or we run out of news. I'm going to go with time is going to be the one that expires on us.
More than likely.
Right. So do you want to start, or do you want me to start? Who wants to go first tonight?
I'll start.
All right, what do you got? Give me a news story. Let's talk about it.
So the NFL owners are considering a rule to make roughing the passer penalties reviewable. Are you for this? You not for this? How do you feel about that?
It would be challengeable then?
Yes. So they already tried this once and it didn't really work, but it looks like they're considering trying it again.
I'm not really in favor of this. I think it's going to be abused like crap. Yeah. I think every time a quarterback gets knocked down, he thinks he's been roughed. And so now that a coach would have a say on it, it's just going to create quarterback and coach issues, because coaches are going to be like, just rub some dirt on it, and the quarterback's going to feel. But I think it's a bad way to go. I don't think it's going to be effective. We have already seen coaches' challenges are not effective in rules where there's judgment call involved. Pass interference.
Yes.
So I'm going to say no. It's a bad idea.
Yeah, me too. I can see the reasons for certain teams wanting to do that. Believe me, especially being a Bengals fan, I totally get that. But yeah, with a judgment call like that, it's rough. It would be a really rough decision because they already tried this once and it didn't work. So I can't see them figuring out a way to make it work. And then just really quick, the other rules on that docket are there's an alternative to an onside kick. So your second option would be to try 4th and 15 from your team's own territory.
Oh, where? Like from the kick, where you would kick it off?
Where you would kick it off from, it looks like. It doesn't really say in this.
From like the 40? I see. I don't like that either because the Chiefs will never kick off ever again. Andy Reid and...
Well, it's just for an onside kick.
But still, I reiterate, Chiefs will never kick off again. They will. It'll be coin toss, and they defer, and they will run Patrick Mahomes out there to run a 4th and 15.
True.
I mean, obviously, I don't think they're not going to allow it. They're not going to allow it at the start. Well, you can't say.
You can do an onside kick whenever you want.
Right. I mean,
Really?
right now you could start a game with an onside kick if you wanted to, but I doubt they're gonna. Listen, first play of the game, how much of it? No. All right. I'm sorry. I know I'm rambling because the thoughts are flying through my head like rap. Okay. I am Andy Reid, right? I have one of the most high-powered offenses in the league. I tell my guy, whatever happens out there, if we win the toss, defer. And the guy goes, okay. We win the toss. We defer to the second half. So now we have to kick off. Andy Reid says, Mahomes, get out there, kick off, and run a 4th and 15. Why wouldn't you?
True.
Why wouldn't you? It's the first series of the game. Either you just stole a possession from the other team, or you gave them a short field when neither team knows what to expect. There's a real reason why most teams don't score on their first possession, and that is because they don't know what they're going to look for or what they're looking at. There's a reason why, teams go 3 and out to start the game and they don't panic. So if Patrick Mahomes goes out there and doesn't convert on 4th and 15, the other team, okay, maybe we give up a field goal. Am I really worried about that with a high-powered offense?
Not particularly.
Now, if I'm a defensive team, you're damn right I'm kicking the ball. But doesn't that put them at a disadvantage automatically? If your strength is defense?
Yeah, it might. I mean, I think it would be situational with who you're playing.
It would be situational, but again, and then there's those guys who think they can do it every time. Are you telling me John Gruden isn't going to run his offense out there 75% of the time on kickoffs? He is. In his head, he can convert anything. He really does think that. He really, really does. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed, if you've been keeping up on the Bleacher Report, the Gridiron Heights,
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned it last week, the last episode of the year involves commercials, and one of the commercials is John Gruden's used cars with 2 R's. And he literally grabs Derek Carr and goes, not a lot of mileage, can throw really far, will get you a lot of yardage. And that's it. And then they cut to something else. But it's just like that moment. I'm just like, oh my God. Yeah, they went there. They absolutely went there that John Gruden wants to trade Derek Carr. So no, I don't think that's a good idea. No. What are your thoughts on it? I've just been rambling because, oh my God, I did not know about that. So that kind of hit me hard.
No, that's fine. That's why this is interesting to do. Same thing. Because like we said, you can do an onside kick whenever you want. So, I mean, I don't know.
See, now you just do what I just did.
My brain just stopped because I'm thinking of like when you would want to use it, but then would you use it all the time because you have to be sure you're going to make it?
I think you would use it at the start of every game. There would be no scenario in my mind where an offensive-minded team would take the ball to start the game. They would always defer to guarantee to get the ball. Well, but there's the other side of it. They defer to start the second half. But at the same time, then what happens when the other team decides they're going to do the same thing you're doing? So let's say the Chiefs are playing the Bills, 2 high-powered offenses, 2 offenses that could potentially convert on 4th and 15 when they needed to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs win the toss, they defer, they decide they're not going to kick, they're going to go ahead and do the 4th and 15 thing. Start of the second half. What stops the Bills from doing the same thing?
Nothing.
Particularly if you're up.
Yeah.
What if you're up? What if the Bills are up 21-3 at that point? Going into the second half, and you're going to kick off. Wouldn't you rather take the chance? You've stopped them all game.
I think if your offense is having a good game, there would be no reason why you wouldn't try it.
Just saying. Just saying. So, all right. So while we're on the topic of rule questions, my first question for you has to do with a rule.
Mm-hmm.
According to Sports Illustrated's MMQB, Monday Morning Quarterback, the Buffalo Bills have submitted a rule change to the NFL, proposing that any coaching or front office interviews must wait until the conference championship games are completed, and all hires must wait until after the completion of the Super Bowl. The Bills' proposal doesn't come much of a surprise. Their offensive coordinator was interviewed by the Jets and the Chargers. Their defensive coordinator was interviewed by the Texans. And their assistant general manager was interviewed by the Panthers, all while the Bills were trying to make the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Greg, should we limit interviews until later in the playoff series and hirings until after the Super Bowl, or does that put teams at too much of a disadvantage if they have to roll over their entire front office?
That is a really tough call, because I understand why teams start interviewing like as soon as they know they're, out of the playoff run, because as we mentioned on this podcast, like you think, oh yeah, the Super Bowl, everything's over, we can wait. There's very little off time for teams.
Yeah.
Especially if you're looking to hire a new head coach, and that head coach needs to hire a whole staff, because that is a lot of people that you have to get organized in a very short amount of time, because they start training, in June? It's
not even about training, it's about draft.
Yeah, the draft is in April. So that gives you a month.
You fire your general manager and your head coach.
Yep.
After the season. Let's say it happens on Black Monday.
Yep.
You can't hire those two guys until the second week of February. That literally leaves you 6 weeks to hire them, bring them in, get the staff set, evaluate the current people, evaluate the scouting reports, and attend the draft.
Yeah, that's a lot. I know we're looking so everything's on a fair playing field, but that's a lot.
Yes.
That is a lot. I think that would put teams at a disadvantage, because they have, they're going to interview more than one person for the job. So now you have to coordinate those interviews, and then you have to rush to make your decision. I don't know. I see where the thought's coming from, and it's a good thought, but I don't know if it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's a whole nother mess, but yeah, so I agree. I think the only positive that could come out of it is you're going to be less likely to turn over your entire culture. You're not going to walk into a room as the owner and say, all right, there are 12 people around this table, 10 of you are fired. Guess who? It's going to be a little bit more kind of oh, okay, we need to figure this out. Maybe we shouldn't make this such a change. I don't know. But that's my take on it. What do you got for me? What's next?
That was the wrong
keep
page.
It
rolling. So a tight end needs a new home. The Saints have terminated the contract of Jared Cook.
I'm
I'll be honestly, he went to the Pro Bowl twice. Yeah, twice. He's a good tight end, but after that playoff game in the Saints and the drop passes he had, I'm not shocked.
Tight end? Is he?
Well, I mean, if he went to the Pro Bowl twice.
I could have gone to the
But I don't know.
Bowl
After that playoff game, I was like, he's gonna lose his job, because the drops that he had in that game, that if he didn't have those drops, that game could have ended very differently.
All right, Jared Cook, let's just be honest about this, has one good year, and it was 2018 with the Raiders. 68 catches for 896 and 6 touchdowns. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing you can say about Jared Cook in New Orleans. In 2020, he had 7 touchdowns. He caught the ball when it mattered, but he only had 504 yards. He wasn't targeted a lot. His average has been actually pretty good. He's averaged 12 or yards better per catch, which for a tight end isn't bad, since 2013. I don't know. He wasn't. He did. He dropped key opportunities in the playoffs, and that hurt him. There's no question about that. No question about that.
I mean, I'm sure he'll get signed again, but it's not a shock to me that they didn't re-sign him.
It's not a shock that they decided to go in a different direction. I think they're going to be rebuilding this team. I really do. I don't think Breeze is coming back.
I don't think that exercise video of Breeze matters.
I don't know.
That was a really bad game. So if he did come back, so that wasn't his last game, I won't be shocked.
I think Drew Brees has always been one of those guys who has kind of lived on the edge of serious injury.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at stats right now. Game started 2020. I'm going to go backwards. Ready? 12, 11 starts, 15, 16, 16, 15, 16, 16, 16, all the way back to 2003 when he only started 11 games before that serious neck injury. But in the last 2 years, he's only got 23 combined starts.
Yeah, that's not good because he broke all of his ribs last season. I don't even know how he played.
I don't see it. I don't see. Yeah, I don't see I don't want to say he's too old because that's really rough to say about anybody. Mm-hmm. But I think he is at the point where he needs to.
With his injury history, yeah.
Well, but that's the thing. His injury history was fantastic from 2004 through 2018. He had 14 years where he never missed more than one game. 15 starts minimum after that 2003 year where he only started 11 games. Okay? Mm-hmm. He averaged really well. The last 2 years,
not so much.
Missed 9 games in 2 years. The mind is willing, but the flesh is weak.
This is true. He needs to go on that TB12 diet.
No. Nobody needs to go on a TB12 diet. I'd rather die a fat old fuck than touch that diet. Let's just say that right now. So, all right, so let's go to the next question.
Mm-hmm.
JJ Watt going to Arizona.
Yeah.
He is saying that all signs pointed to Arizona. He's also saying there were 4 or 5 other finalists, but he chose Arizona, and it was certainly close.
Okay.
He isn't saying who the other 4 or 5 finalists were.
Mm.
Where do you think he could have gone? And are you surprised he went to Arizona?
I'm surprised he went to Arizona because I don't know. I don't see Arizona winning that division. Mm. I mean, they can, but I don't know. I don't think they're there yet, and I don't know how much longer he's planning on playing. So it's like when the Patriots kept winning the Super Bowl and people went there because they wanted to win a Super Bowl kind of thing. But I don't see that with Arizona right now. Yep.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought. Sorry.
But as far as other teams, I'm pretty sure Buffalo was in there. Cleveland was in there. I'm going to daydream and say Cincinnati because they had the money. I don't know who else. Maybe the Colts or the Jets. I'm just thinking of people that would be able to afford him. It's not a lot.
So, believe it or not, one of the reasons he said he went there was DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, all right.
He likes DeAndre Hopkins, which begs the question, oh my God, did the Texans lose him when they traded Hopkins last year?
That could be.
I mean, JJ's one of those guys who plays things really close to the vest. I mean, but did that really influence his decision and he just didn't talk about it? It's possible. He also said that they run a defensive scheme closer to what he played under Wade Phillips in Houston. And he's very comfortable with that scheme. Which what he said, it's a scheme I'm very comfortable with very familiar with and very comfortable with and excited to play in. So,
okay. All right. That's a definite consideration as well.
They unretired a number for him, by the way.
Oh, they did?
He wears 99.
Mm-hmm.
Number 99 was retired by the Chicago Cardinals.
Wow.
This guy, Marshall Goldberg, wore it from 1939 to 1943, and then again from 1946 to 1948. The reason for the 3-year gap was because he went to serve in World War II.
Wow.
Back when actually that mattered, when military service trumped professional sports. See, like every baseball player in the 40s and 50s for reference.
That's true.
I mean, true. It's just it blows my mind. But yeah, so I wasn't shocked that he went there, but a lot of people were. I wasn't. Arizona's really a solid defense away of being a contender.
Yeah, and maybe this is the piece that they need.
New Orleans is going into rebuilding. I really believe that. Arizona could. The Rams just traded for Matt Stafford.
I mean, maybe that's the answer for the Rams. I don't know.
I mean, let's look at 10 seconds on the NFC West. All right, really quick. 10 seconds on the NFC West. The Arizona Cardinals just got better. The Rams traded their franchise quarterback because they didn't think he was a franchise quarterback anymore. The San Francisco 49ers are a mash unit, and the Seattle Seahawks had meetings with their quarterback in which he said, I really feel like I should have some more input, and they said, good luck with that, and now he wants out. Everyone in that division, but the Cardinals, is in some form of rebuilding.
True. That's very true.
Does anybody think Matt Stafford's going to walk through the door and win the NFC West? I don't.
No, but I think they'll be a better team overall.
They'll be better, but they're going to win 9 games. There's a learning curve.
Oh yeah. He's still going to throw for 5,000 yards.
Listen, Tom Brady is not walking through the door in L.A. Do not mistake. Is that what they did? Did he sit there and watch the Super Bowl and go, old quarterbacks from other teams?
I can do that.
All it takes is an offensive genius. I'm an offensive genius. No, that didn't happen, folks. That conversation in his palatial palace with his great views and his massive fireplace, no, didn't happen. McVay did not sit there and think, this is the way. Because if he did, he would have called New Orleans and gotten Drew Brees, because that's a way better older quarterback. San Francisco 49ers want us to love Jimmy Garoppolo, but at the same time, they shop him at every opportunity.
They do.
They want him out. The problem is they have no one else. If San Francisco were a real-life Madden team, they'd be a team with 6 quarterbacks, all rated between 50 and 60.
You know what? Sometimes, if all the other players were between 80 and 90, you have to do that.
Yes, and that's how they made a Super Bowl 2 years ago. That is how they made a Super Bowl. But it's not going to work now. And Seattle, your best player asked you to have more input, and you told him to F off.
Yeah, that was... I mean, I like Pete Carroll as a coach, but yeah, was not a good plan. I didn't realize Pete Carroll's sons are part of the staff.
Everybody has their kids on the staff.
I mean, good for them. Good for them.
That's why Britt Reed is going to jail.
Oh dear.
We're not going to talk about that story, but
yeah,
he's going to jail, and he deserves to. I'm a Chiefs fan, and he deserves to go to jail. End of story.
Yes.
All right. I think it's your turn. What do you got for me?
Actually, concerning quarterbacks.
I'm cracking a second beer, by the way.
What's the second beer?
I don't know. I don't remember what's in the bag.
That's fair enough.
Go ahead and ask your question, and I'll tell you.
Where did my question go? Give me a go. Oh, okay, there it is. Yep.
Okay.
So, Joe Douglas, the GM of the Jets.
Yes.
He said that he will answer if teams call about trading Sam Darnold. Now, here's
my
thing.
That's the next story on my list.
Nice.
That's fine. That's great. I've got 8 of them, so we've got plenty. Go on.
So I'm just going to go over, and I think I sent this to everyone, but we'll go over what happened to Sam Darnold the last 3 seasons. All right? So he's had 2 head coaches. One was clearly not very good.
Insert the sad music here, by the way.
He's had 3 offensive coordinators.
Yep.
2 GMs. He had a shoulder injury, mono, and his offensive line was in the bottom 5. The run game was in the bottom 5. The skill players are in the bottom 5, and he had a bottom 10 defense. So I don't know what the Jets are doing. And I follow the Jets. I just don't know what the hell they're doing.
First off, we live in the New York area, so we can't help but follow the Jets. We don't want to follow the Jets. The Jets are just it's there. It's there. You can't not follow the Jets because they're on the TV every 5 minutes. And back in the days when the Giants were good, it'd be a little less frequently. Back when the days where the Jets were good and the Giants were bad, it would be the opposite. Yeah. Now they're both bad, so it's just kind of like the sportscaster comes on TV and he's like, news from football. Sam Darnold's hurt again. Giants. Yep, Saquon's hurt again. Back to you. That's essentially the sports report during the fall. But
so I mean, there's rumors that the Jets are going to trade down to get more picks. But I don't if you're how does this affect you if you're the quarterback? If your GM says, "Yeah, I'll answer calls if you want to trade for him," and then 3 weeks ago they're like, "Yeah, we're going to probably keep him." What?
So the official quote was, "I will answer the call if it's made." That statement says a lot to me. Number one, it's like you said, it signals their intent we will trade Sam Darnold, who was not tradable before this moment. But the second part, if it's made, says to me no one's calling. This guy is sitting at a desk playing solitaire or Minesweeper, and the phone has dust on it. And then he gets excited, it rings, and he picks it up. And
it's an automated insurance company.
Joe Douglas, and it's a guy who goes, "Hello, we have been trying to reach you about your expiring auto warranty. To speak with our representative, press 1 now." And he slams the phone down and he gets upset. That's what this sounds like to me. You know what else is? Do you remember the episode from The Simpsons where Bart falls in love with his babysitter?
Yes.
And they call, I can't remember what, it's some sort of international cuisine, but the two guys are just sitting there and the phone rings and they get all excited. That's essentially what Joe Douglas does. He sits there. I think one of the guys says to the other one, "Sometimes I think you want us to fail." That's essentially Joe Douglas's life. That's what that says to me. I will answer the call if it's made. Says to me no one's calling. Listen, the gauntlet was cast. I got to look up the year really quick. I got to look up the year.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Stand by. Hold on. We're doing it live.
He's looking now. I can't see him, but I'm assuming he's looking now.
In 1988, at an owners meeting, the general manager of the Edmonton Oilers was asked in passing as they were walking down the hall by the general manager of the LA Kings, what would it take to get Gretzky? And his response was, "Well, a lot, but we could talk." And by August 9th, Wayne Gretzky, who at the time was clearly the best player in hockey, was going to LA, which was sacrilege in Canada. It was bizarre. There's a great 30 for 30 on it. I think it's the very first 30 for 30. And it's fantastic. If you ever get a chance, go back and look at it. But those conversations happen. Even when you've been told 75 times, this guy's untouchable, those conversations still happen. Because you never know when the response is going to be, "Well, we could talk."
Yeah, that's very true.
So for Joe Douglas to come out and say, if the call is made, is not only an invitation for teams to call him, but it's also a statement that no one is calling. And that's
true. I didn't think about that part.
Very telling to me. Very, very telling. Normally conversations like that or quotes like that are, "Well, people have called and, we've had discussions, but nothing firm has ever materialized." That's not what he said. What he said, if the call is made, I'll answer it. That's telling. By the way, I'm drinking Green City by Other Half.
Nice.
As my second beer of the evening. So
nice.
So yeah, nobody wants Sam Darnold. We have him in our dynasty league. We don't want Sam Darnold. Did I trade him?
I think we still have him. No, I'd have to look.
Crap, we have Drew Brees in that league. We can't trade Sam Darnold.
We have to draft a quarterback or pick one up rather.
Back, and we finished mid-pack. I think we made the playoffs this year. We are not getting a quarterback. It's not happening.
No.
So the 2021 season, we're going to have to throw the league and hope there's some.
We are the Bears.
Who's the Trevor Lawrence of next year? Is there a Trevor Lawrence next year?
I'd have to look. The source would know.
Well, somebody get the source on the phone. Alexa, call the source.
That'd be amazing if she did.
Well, I have this one set to a different name because we have two of them in the house.
Oh.
They were both set to Alexa, and it ended up being bad. I'd be sitting in a living room, and my Alexa would be 10 feet from where I was sitting. I'd be like, "Alexa, weather report." And all of a sudden, I'd hear mumbling from the bedroom. "The current temperature is 43 degrees." Like, well, how does that happen?
Yeah, mine do that too.
10 feet away. That one is through a closed door. How does that happen?
It knows your voice.
But, I mean, I'm like, how does it happen? It's like, wait a minute. Like, two people, like, "I got this." Why is the one on 500 feet away is like, "I got this"? I don't get it. So, all right, anyway. All right, next topic. Is it me? It's my turn, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I don't know where to go with this. Let's go with the fun one. So, Bleacher Report reported this week through a Twitter account called Quirky Research that the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback of 1983, Terry Bradshaw, needed to have hospital on a muscle tear in the elbow of his throwing arm in 1983. He checked into the hospital under the name Thomas Brady.
What are the odds?
Here's the problem. Tom Brady was like 7.
Yeah, he was.
He was not drafted for another 17 years. So I'm going to ask the question bluntly.
Mm-hmm.
Is Terry Bradshaw a motherfucking wizard?
You know, after watching Terry on TV for so many years, I wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised.
Although this year he picked against the Chiefs every week of the playoffs. He called for the Browns. He called for the Bills. I'm like, he was the only one calling for the Browns. I'm like, Terry, no. This team is up and coming, sure, but no. And then the Chiefs went out. Did the Chiefs even play the second half of that game? Patrick Mahomes, I think, hosted a barbecue.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
I
did not realize he did that every week.
What? A barbecue?
No, picked against the Chiefs.
Just in the playoffs.
Oh, just in the playoffs. Okay.
Yeah, in the playoffs, he picked against the Wheat. Every time I saw, all right, we got Chiefs versus Browns. Chiefs. We're taking the Browns. Why? What is wrong with you? What is this? What are they always do it at the end of segments. Those picks. It's in the last 5 minutes before they go to games, so we never get to hear their logic. What is the logic behind it? They get 15 seconds each, and Tony Gonzalez doesn't even try anymore. Tony Gonzalez says, I only played for one of these teams, so I'm going with the Chiefs. Okay. But then Terry Bradshaw comes up with some obscure one-line stat, like Browns are +4 in turnovers in their last 6 games. I'm going with the Browns. You're completely ignoring the fact that Patrick Mahomes has thrown like a total of 4 interceptions all year and no one fumbles? Why are you looking at +4 when the Chiefs have an amazing turnover differential? Why would you cite that stat? It would be like me calling for the Steelers to win because they have a good sandwich at their stand.
They might.
But it's not an applicable stat.
No. I mean, there's a stat for everything, but no.
There is a stat for everything, and
really
you know
is.
what? That's absolutely true. There's a stat for everything, but no. All right, back to you. What do you got for me?
Back to me. This is sort of relevant to you because he was a Chief. LaShawn McCoy said he's still interested in playing.
No.
He feels like he feels like a rabbit's foot for teams to win Super Bowls now because he's won 2.
No. Yeah, and how many years? Hold on, I'm pulling up his numbers. Here. LaShawn McCoy has played in 6 Super Bowls and won the last 2, and all of a sudden he's a rabbit's foot. LaShawn McCoy played 6 years in Philadelphia. They ever win a Super Bowl there? Answer is no. Well, they did.
Not when he was there.
While he was there. He then played 4 years in Buffalo. Did he win a Super Bowl there? No. He played a reduced role. Listen, he played 10 games this year. He touched the ball 10 times. I'm sorry, that's not true. He carried 10 times. 25 times in 10 games. You're telling me that a guy who averaged 2.5 touches a game
is a rabbit's foot. Yes.
Is a rabbit's foot?
That's what he says. That's what he says.
Here's what I say. He's on crack. No. Absolutely not. Abso-freaking-lutely not. First off, 10 rushes this year. 10 times they handed him the ball. Do you know what he had in Kansas City in 2019? 101 touches.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Wow.
He had 465 yards. He averaged 4.6 yards a carry. This year, 10 touches for 31. 10 carries, I should say. No. You're not. No. You're not lucky. No. No.
No. I mean, their team's going to just, pay him to be on the sideline.
Well, they did that for, what's his name? Bernie Kosar 20, 30 years ago.
Oh,
Bernie Kosar has 2 rings, don't forget. And it's because he was a backup in both games.
That's true.
No,
Sorry
that's
about
That's absurd that he would say that. And you know what? That's a selling point should be scary to people. Scary. Don't forget, in 1993, Bernie Kosar was so bad as a backup that he played for both Cleveland and Dallas.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he was in Dallas.
Well, that's where he's got his ring. That's where he has his ring from, is from his 1 year in Dallas.
Wow.
And then the next year he was in Miami. He was in Miami to end his career in 94 through 96. He actually started 2 games and lost them both in 1995. Worst delivery of anyone I've ever seen. Bernie Kosar. It was like his arm was like connected by silly string. It was bizarre. Bizarre. But yeah, no. LaShawn, you're 32. You're not productive. You would be better off using this as a coach. You would be better off looking at teams and going, listen, I've got 2 Super Bowls in my last 2 stops. I'm the guy you want coaching your running backs. I have a 1,600 yards
gig.
I have been to the Pro Bowl more times than most of these guys will play. I'm pulling up his numbers right now. Selected the Pro Bowl. He was selected the Pro Bowl every year from 2013 through 2017. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler. I've been to the Pro Bowl more times than most of these guys will play. More years than most of these guys will. I know what it takes to win. That's what he should do. And then Andy Reid would pick up the phone and say, come coach in Kansas City. He would in an instant. He loves him. Loves him.
Yeah, no, I agree. That would make a much an improvement to a lot of teams. Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Sorry, this beer's going to my head. All right, my turn, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
CBS has ranked the top 100 best free agents of 2021.
Okay.
I haven't looked at this list. You tell me when you have a problem. Let's talk about the top 5. The top 5.
Sure.
Number 1 is Dak Prescott.
Okay.
Number 2 is Leonard Williams, the defensive end from the Giants.
Okay.
Number 3 is Chris Godwin.
Okay.
Number 4 is Brandon Sheff, the offensive guard from Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And number 5 is Trent Williams, the offensive tackle from San Francisco. Of those 5 guys, who do you think is really the top free agent this year?
I mean, you would think people would say Dak as the default.
Mm-hmm.
But I think going into this year, I think offensive linemen are going to be a very high commodity. So I'm going to say Trent Williams.
Trent Williams, I don't even know who Brandon Sheriff is. He's one of the best guards in the league, a guy all teams would love to have. Really? Because I've never heard his name. Trent Williams is 33, but listen. Trent Williams is in that same mold. I'm going to invoke an old name right now. Trent Williams is the 21st century Willie Roaf.
Oh, there you go.
Play a 1,000 years.
Name.
1,000 years. Willie Roaf was amazing as a Saint. He was great for the Chiefs. He is in the Hall, right?
I believe so.
I believe he is in the Hall of Fame. If he's not, he absolutely should be because he was amazing. 2012. He was in 2012. That's okay. That's the way it should be. But well, he just turned 50. Oh my God. Really? Don't stop getting old. Stop getting older. Listen, Trent Williams is one of those guys. So he's 33. He could play another 5 years. He could. And listen, offensive line is so important. Why did Joe Burrow get hurt, Craig? You tell me because we've had this conversation. I know your answer.
Because their offensive line was made of paper mache against guys who, against guys who didn't either were hurt or they were backups and didn't play together. It was no experience. It's bad. It's very bad.
Why did the Chiefs lose the Super Bowl?
Because
the defensive line was hurt.
Yep, and their backups were scared. I mean, I would be too. Because,
Blow the whistle! Blow the whistle! Offensive line matters. What video game was it? Madden, where the guy who did the league where all he drafted was offensive linemen and he went undefeated because no one could
no one touched him
in the backfield.
Yeah, I think he ran for like 8,000 yards, something insane. Like,
and when he needed to pass, like he had all day.
Yeah.
Offensive line actually matters. So I agree. Let me just round out the top 10. Shaq Barrett at 6, Allen Robinson at 7, Justin Simmons, the free safety, at 8, Taylor Moton, the offensive tackle, at 9, and Kenny Golladay at 10. Hunter Henry comes in at 12. I'm just looking for other notable names. Jonnu Smith at 15. Curtis Samuel, really? Why? Aaron Jones is 22.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
How does that work?
Yeah. Melvin Ingram at 25. Corey Davis, who I thought had retired, 27. Juju, 28.
This is a weird list.
This is a CBS Sports, man.
Weird
Rob
list.
Gronkowski, 36.
Oh, well, he's not going anywhere.
Will Fuller at number 40.
Really?
Jadeveon Clowney at number 43. Remember when he was the best defensive player in football?
Yeah. Yep. I'm sure the Bears will sign him. Right,
Sammy
Sean?
Watkins at 46. I guarantee you Sammy Watkins is not a Chief next year. Kenyon Drake at 50. Kenyon Drake heard that J.J. Watt signed and immediately lowered whatever he was asking for.
No, I'll stay. I'll stay.
Nelson Aguilar at 56. Gerald Everett at 57. Jared Cook at 59. There's my Mendoza line. Anyone who comes in there to Cook is probably really bad. Richard Sherman, 65.
Well, he's getting up there in age.
Cam Newton is 69. Cinch will tell us that's too high. 71 is Andy Dalton.
Damn.
James White at 76. Wow. Rashad Breeland, 77. That's too high. The quarterback for the Chiefs? No. He's like 177. And Ndamukong Suh is a free agent, and he's ranked 82nd.
Wow, this is a really weird list.
These are a lot of guys that we're just seeing get old. That's really what it is. Antonio Brown, number 96.
He's not going anywhere. No one else wants him. So
Leonard Fournette, number 99. Seriously?
He's not going anywhere either.
Oh, it blows my mind. All right, you know what? Yeah. We're out of time.
That's sad. But let me tell you really quick who got a new deal for 1 year. Are you ready?
Oh, you know what? Take the last one. Go for it. We can stretch one more. Do it.
All right. This running back got a new 1 year deal for $4.25 million. His name is David Johnson.
Where?
In Texas. The Texans.
Why?
Because they let go of Duke Johnson.
The Texas.
Voice trails off.
It's not like they cut somebody great. 1 year, 4.25.
Yep.
In a rebuilding year, right?
I guess so, because no one wants to be there or coach there, apparently. So.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Watson wanting out.
They said that they are not willing to trade him, and I don't understand why.
Because they don't know what they're doing.
No, I know that, but yeah.
That's the only answer you really need. They have no clue what they're doing in Houston. None.
Because
they traded DeAndre Hopkins because a coach didn't like his lifestyle, and that's a simple fact.
Yeah, no, they said that. Well, he said that, but
he came right out and said he doesn't fit with our culture because he doesn't thump the Bible and quote, the letters.
I think it's because he had too many. Was it too many kids from different women or something? It was something about his outside football life relationships.
That was exactly it. He had 4 kids across 3 women, and he was very open. He was not the kind of guy who ever wanted to get married.
Right.
And that didn't gel well with your God King coach, who then you had to fire 3 games later because you realized he doesn't know what he's doing. He's shaking a magic 8-ball with plays in it, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And then you look back, and DeAndre Hopkins is waving from Arizona going, sorry, I'd love to stay, but I got to go to the playoffs. Did Arizona make the playoffs? No, they didn't.
No, almost.
But they're gonna this year. They're gonna this year. They're their team on the rise. Really do. I do believe that. So, yeah, you know what? Texans are clueless.
Yeah, because this is going to turn into Carson Palmer again, and he's just going to sit out. He has enough money that it doesn't matter. He's just not going to play.
It's going to be it. You know what? What's going to happen is people are going to paint him as this messiah for the players. You need to take one to show the NFL who's really in charge. And you're right. He has the money. He'll sit out, and it'll become a big to-do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I hope to God there is an adult in the room in the Texans that makes the change. I just hope it happens.
I hope so, or because they're not going to be good,
right?
At all.
All right, final thoughts, Craig. What do you got for me this week?
Oh man, final thoughts is what we mentioned before is every year we finish the season and we're like, yep, it's time to relax, and it isn't because a lot of stuff happens between now and the draft.
Which is my problem. My final thought is I don't have time. I don't have time for all this off-season shenanigans. I have started playing Stardew Valley, and I have a very important farm to look after.
It's a
Craig,
good game.
Do you know the pure value of growing and brewing your own coffee in a video game? It's amazing.
You know, I got close to getting that, but I lost my farm, so I have to start over. So
what I did is I planted a field full of coffee because coffee lasts 2 seasons. And I harvested somewhere in the realm of 2,000 coffee beans.
Okay.
I then built a shed and filled it with coffee brewing kegs.
Okay.
By the time I walk from one end, putting the coffee beans into the kegs to brew them, by the time I finish a round, it's done brewing, and I just harvest and do it again. I can produce 2,000 cups of coffee a day.
That is a lot of caffeine.
I made 37,000 gold in this game. 1,000 gold is like what it'll get you through a day. I made 37,000 gold in a day by selling coffee. I became Starbucks.
That's impressive.
And now here's the thing. I haven't done a damn thing. My cows are starving. Everything else is wilting. But I have a shitload of coffee.
Did you water your cat?
I did not water the cat. The cat seems to be completely self-sufficient in this game.
It pretty much is. You can pet it randomly.
I just pet it. It ignores me. It doesn't do anything. I mean,
no,
if
it just walks around.
If I don't feed the chickens, they stop laying eggs. If I don't water the crops, they die. If I don't put the coffee beans in the keg, I don't get coffee. But the cat just is.
It's just there. Just is.
That's amazing. The cat is my role model for life then.
There you go.
He just is. Speaking of which, if you need a role model for life, this isn't a good segue. I'm going to abandon it. Scratch that. Just leave us a review wherever you listen to us. I was going to go with if you need a role model for your life, leave us a review. And I'm like, that makes even less sense than I normally do. So if you enjoy what you're listening to, please leave us a review. Reach out to us. We are at FignutsDFS on Twitter. We are FignutsDFS@gmail.com. We are the Football Fignuts podcast on Facebook. And leave us a review wherever you listen to us. I was wandering the internet the other day, and I was on iHeartRadio because I was listening to a fantastic podcast, which I'm sad is over, called The 13 Days of Halloween, which was very unique and interesting. I didn't like the ending, but that's beside the point. But while I was there, I was like, I wonder if anyone has left us a review. And I went and I found us in a heartbeat. All I had to do was search the word Fignuts on iHeartRadio, and we came right up, and we had 0 comments. And It was sad. So please, leave us a review. We would love to hear from you. It's the off season. So Craig and I might be back next week. We might take a week off. I'm not promising anything during the off season.
Yeah, not till the draft anyway.
Not to the draft. Oh God, draft prep. Something. Alexa, call the source. We need to get the source.
Maybe we can get them to send us a list.
Yeah, between you and the source, you know what we need to do? We need to give Britt a week off and just have you and the source do an entire draft prep episode. But scheduling that guy, it's like trying to get Adam Schefter to put down his phone for 3 minutes. It's impossible. The dude is always working the phone for his info. So we'll see what we could do there. But anyway, until next week or whenever we feel like recording again, my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And we are the Football Fignuts Podcast.
Hi, Deb.